A hedge fund manager in Greenwich, Connecticut renews 11 magazine subscriptions every January. He spends $2,300. He has not read a single issue in 4 years. His assistant confirmed this. She stacks them unopened on a shelf in his office. And he considers this one of the smartest investments he makes all year. That is not a flex. That is not laziness. That is a system. And nobody told you about it because it only works if most people do not know it exists. Here is why this matters to you personally. You have been told that wealth is built through discipline, budgeting, and picking the right index funds. And maybe that is true at some level. But the people who actually accelerate from comfortable to wealthy are not doing it through better spreadsheets. They are doing it through access. Access to rooms, to conversations, to deals that never get posted publicly. And this magazine trick is one of the oldest, quietest doors into those rooms. Let me tell you exactly what is happening. Most of the major business and financial magazines, think Fortune, Forbes, the Wall Street Journal's magazine, Bloomberg Businessweek, they have something called a publisher's advisory board or a subscriber council. These are small groups, sometimes as few as 20 people, sometimes as many as 100, who pay a premium subscription tier. Not the $12 a month digital plan. The full institutional rate, sometimes bundled with event access. Sometimes structured as a corporate gifting account where you send copies to clients. The magazine gets revenue. That part is obvious. But here is what they give back. Quarterly dinners. Intimate editorial briefings where a chief economist walks 12 people through what the magazine's data team is actually seeing. Annual summits where the subscriber list becomes the guest list. And because the barrier is financial, the room self-selects. Everyone at that dinner paid to be there. Which means everyone at that dinner has money, has ambition, and is looking for exactly the same thing you are. One specific example. A real estate developer named Marcus, based in Atlanta, started buying bundled subscriptions to 3 publications when he was 31 years old. His company was small. He had maybe 4 employees. He spent just over $1,800 that year on subscriptions he did not have time to read. Within 14 months he had been invited to 2 closed editorial events. At the second one he sat next to a senior partner at a private equity firm. That conversation led to an introduction. That introduction led to a co-investment deal on a mixed-use development. The deal returned him $600,000 over 3 years. He still buys the subscriptions. He still does not read them. The magazines are not the product. The subscriber list is the product. And you are paying for a seat on that list. If this is the first time you have heard this framed this way, subscribe right now. We cover the actual mechanics of how money moves, not the sanitized version that gets posted everywhere else. Now here is the second layer. And this one reframes everything. It is not just about the events. It is about what psychologists call social proof by association. When you reach out to someone in a deal context and you mention you are a subscriber or a board member of a well-known publication, you have just passed a filter. You did not pass it because you read an article. You passed it because institutional credibility transferred onto you through that association. The other person's guard goes down slightly. Their assistant does not screen the email as hard. The follow-up gets returned. Rich people understand that trust is expensive to build and cheap to buy. Paying for association is one of the most efficient trust-building mechanisms that exists. And it is hiding in plain sight on the subscription page of magazines you scroll past every single day. There is a reason you did not learn this in school. School teaches you to earn credentials through work and testing. The wealthy know that perceived credentials can be purchased, stacked, and leveraged. That is not fraud. That is understanding how social systems actually function. So what do you actually do with this? First, you do not need to spend $2,300 right now. That number is for someone who has already built a base. What you can do is identify 1 or 2 publications that are genuinely read by the specific type of person you want to be in a room with. Not general business magazines, niche ones. If you are in real estate, look at National Real Estate Investors event sponsorship tiers. If you are in tech, look at MIT Technology Review's membership program. If you are in finance, look at Institutional Investors subscriber events. The more specific the publication, the more curated the room. Second, when you pay for these tiers, actually track the events they offer. Most people upgrade and then ignore the benefits entirely. That is not an investment. That is just an expense. The return only comes when you show up. Third, once you are in those rooms, do not pitch. Do not sell. Ask questions. Be genuinely curious about what the person across from you is working on. The deal or the introduction will come later if the relationship is real. That is the part that cannot be bought. The access can be purchased. The relationship still has to be earned. The $2,300 is not buying friendship. It is buying proximity. And proximity is the asset nobody puts on a balance sheet, but everyone at the top is quietly accumulating. You were told to network. You were not told that the most powerful networking in the world has an admission fee and looks exactly like a magazine subscription. Now you know. Stay with me, because in the next video we are going to break down another financial behavior that looks wasteful from the outside and is actually a calculated move. You are not going to want to miss it. Hit subscribe so it lands directly in your feed the moment it goes live.